Are you preparing for an AWS job interview? In this video, we dive into practical, real-world interview questions and answers on essential AWS services, covering popular topics like Amazon S3, ECS, EKS, SQS versus Kafka, and other critical AWS tools. We've got you covered with key insights to ace your interview. Here are some practical interview questions and answers on AWS services, focusing on S3, ECS, EKS, SQS versus Kafka, and other related services. Amazon S3 Simple Storage Service. Question: how would you secure data stored in S3? Answer: use IAM policies to grant least privilege access. Enable bucket policies and access control lists, ACLs, to control access. Enable S3 block public access settings. Use S3 server-side encryption, SSE, with AES 256, KMS, or customer-managed keys. Enable MFA delete to prevent accidental deletions. Use Amazon Macie for identifying sensitive data. Question: how would you make an S3 bucket highly available? Answer: S3 automatically provides high availability using replication across multiple AZs. For cross-region availability, enable cross-region replication, CRR, or use Amazon CloudFront as a CDN for global access. Question: how do you improve performance when working with a large number of objects in S3? Answer: use S3 transfer acceleration for faster uploads and downloads. Enable multi-part uploads for large files. Optimize prefixes for object keys to avoid performance bottlenecks. Amazon ECS, Elastic Container Service. Question: what is the difference between Fargate and EC2 launch types in ECS? Answer: Fargate, a serverless option where AWS manages the underlying infrastructure, scaling automatically. EC2, you manage the EC2 instances, giving you more control over configurations and costs. Question: how do you ensure high availability in ECS? Answer: deploy tasks across multiple availability zones. Use an application load balancer ALB to distribute traffic. Configure auto-scaling for ECS services. Question: how do you troubleshoot an ECS task that is stuck in pending state? Answer: check if there are sufficient resources, CPU, memory, in the cluster. Verify IAM roles and permissions. Ensure the task definition is valid and references the correct VPC and subnets. Amazon EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service. Question: how do you scale applications in EKS? Answer: use Horizontal Pod Autoscaler, HPA, for scaling pods based on metrics. Use Cluster Autoscaler to add, remove worker nodes based on pod demands. Combine with AWS auto-scaling groups for dynamic scaling of EC2 instances. Question: how do you secure an EKS cluster? Answer: restrict access using IAM roles for service accounts, IRSA. Use network policies to control traffic between pods. Encrypt sensitive data using Kubernetes secrets and AWS KMS. Enable Amazon Guard Duty for threat detection. Question: what is the difference between EKS and ECS? Answer: EKS, Kubernetes-based, allowing you to manage containerized applications with Kubernetes tools. ECS, AWS-specific service for container orchestration with simpler setup and integration with AWS services. Amazon SQS versus Apache Kafka. Question: when would you use SQS over Kafka? Answer: use SQS when simplicity and managed service are priorities. You need at least once or best effort delivery. You don't need high throughput or event streaming. Use Kafka when you need event streaming and data retention for analytics. You require real-time processing of large-scale event streams. You need fine-grained control over message consumption. Question: how does message retention differ between SQS and Kafka? Answer: SQS, Messages are retained for up to 14 days. Kafka. Message retention is configurable and can be indefinite, depending on disk storage. Question. How do you ensure message ordering in SQS? Answer. Use FIFO first in first out queues. Other AWS services. Amazon CloudWatch. Question. How do you monitor ECS containers using CloudWatch? Answer. Enable container insights for detailed metrics. Use custom metrics for application-specific monitoring. Amazon RDS. Question. How do you scale an RDS database? Answer. Use read replicas for read-heavy workloads. Enable auto-scaling for storage. Choose larger instance types for scaling vertically. Amazon Lambda. Question. How do you troubleshoot Lambda cold starts? Answer. Pre-warm functions by invoking them periodically using CloudWatch events. Optimize function size and dependencies. Use provisioned concurrency to reduce startup time. Let us know if you'd like to dive deeper into any specific service or need more examples. Let us know in the comments which AWS topic you'd like us to cover next. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more AWS tips and tutorials.